Off Limits is the money podcast that blows up stereotypes, showing you that managing money doesn't have to be hard.
We want you to thrive, not only with your money, but in every part of your life.
What you will get out of this podcast is real, relatable, and relevant tips and strategies that you can apply today. Hi, I'm Donald Raymond, and this is
Christine Spiak. We are money coaches, business owners, and colleagues who are passionate about helping you become more of who you are. So if you're ready, join us.
We all want students and clients like you guys, right? Because you're self-motivated, you're driven, you want the results, you've got the buy-in, and you've already gotten over these hurdles, right? These hurdles that everybody, or not everybody, but so many people struggle with. It's the reason that household finances are the number one leading cause of divorces in America, right? Is people are diving in, all of the things, all of the debts that you guys identified, they all stay hidden. Nobody wants to talk about them. That's kind of the premise for the name of this show, Off Limits, is the idea that this somehow is off limits. You can't talk about it. You have to hide it. You have to feel ashamed. You don't. You shouldn't. You can't. Not if you want to win, right? And you guys have unpacked all of that together. Ari, I know in the beginning you were a little bit more forceful, but I mean, Chris, looking back, now that you've been through a couple of years of this and seen the benefits, obviously you've already spoken to the buy-in. You talked about how the deferred loans were just sitting there, but you didn't realize that they were growing and gaining interest. It cost you money to make that decision, thinking that you were somehow getting, just putting it out of sight, out of mind. Would you go back and do it differently, knowing what you know now, or would you stay on this path
100%.
and continue to thrive this way?
I wish I had joined this whole the whole thing
Sooner,
earlier,
right?
Because I let so much stuff just sit there and take the weight off my chest or off my shoulders, or I'm the way it's so much better to know that you have that you can go through, that you don't have some payment just waiting on you. Even if it's small, it's just so nice to say the car, the car's paid off. I don't have to worry about a car payment or no one can come repossess my car if something went bad. That's my car. And it's just that confidence in knowing that, no one's coming for money at the end of the month, other than a few bills.
The other thing, though, want to make clear, right, is when I got into $163,000 worth of debt, it wasn't making a lot. So a lot of people out there, right, we're in the same boat. We don't make a lot of money. As a matter of fact, probably some statistic out there, right, says that a lot of folks don't
below average,
right? Mm-hmm. And so it's difficult, and it's going to come with sacrifice to set yourself up. And even if you come in with no debt, so before this, student loans, I didn't have any debt. So I was incredibly fortunate to come in with no debt, essentially a low-paying job that wasn't minimum wage whatsoever, but I didn't know what to do with my money.
Yeah.
So I was spending it, but I wasn't saving it. I'm sure if I had saved it, that would have probably helped with the student loan going back to school decision. It is difficult. It's not a walk in the park, but the debt piece is an important piece, but it's a small piece. The other piece is being proactive and saving, and you're putting it into a checking account for the emergency when that car flat tire happens. I was driving down the highway and I got a flat tire, and then I had to replace the tire, and I didn't have the spare tire, right? That's when you're using that emergency fund. So it's got to be easily accessible. It's not there to make you the 7%, 10% stock market, whatever that stuff is. You'll get
cash
to that if you just, save, be able to pay those bills, and then, get to the point where you can invest, and then you can, plan for a retirement and things that you want to do and all of that stuff. It's difficult. It's not easy, no matter what the income level or debt number or whatever that you've got. It's not easy. You just have to turn on the TV or go on YouTube to figure out how many people are telling you, to spend. Because they'll be there for you when your time of need. But I can tell you, when I had that flat tire, nobody was there. So only you and the $100 that you need to, tow the car to the garage to get the new tire. So
yeah, I don't remember the numbers. Christine, do you remember off the top of your head? But you just said something. Turn on the TV, watch YouTube. The marketing dollars, right? That's where I'm headed. Like everybody has
billions.
got.
I don't even know what it
yes,
is.
yes, and we looked it up on. We'll have to go back and reference the episode, Christine, if you can help me remember. But
yeah, I think it was 300 billion, maybe.
It was an absurd number, and the amount of, and
absurd.
Not just a big number, but it was the growth, right? So just a few years prior to that, it was such a low number or a reasonable number, right? And outpacing inflation, outpacing increases in income and all the and growth of the population. The number of dollars, the percentage of dollars of marketing budgets that increased, it was the number that struck me, and just how much more people were spending in marketing, which tells you, that tells you everything you need to know. Why are they putting their money there? Because it works, right? They're tricking people, they're convincing people to spend their money, not where they should and not where they choose, but where they're told. And it's just that effective. And not that marketing it's a good job for a lot of people. We need marketing to be part of our global economics, right? We need it to be part of our micro and macro ecosystems, but within reason.
Ari, what I was hearing you say before you learned, a healthy way to manage your money, it sounded like the pressure and the stress of, I have these payments from debt that I have a low paying job, I have something that happens like the tire, popping on my car, I have to replace, I don't have the money for that. I have friends and family telling me or shoulding me, right? They tell me I should do this or I should do that, right? And when you have all of those pressures and you don't have a solid financial foundation compared to fast forward to today with your solid financial foundation, all of your debt is gone. You're very close to achieving your 3-month emergency fund. What is the difference, like mentally and even physically, of being in financial stress to having no financial stress in the foundation?
Night and day. So our decision as a family, we've decided on some goals, but the pressure that was there before is largely gone. Now I function a little bit under pressure, so that's always going to be there, but it's more of a healthy pressure, and the anxiety of a $1,800 monthly minimum payment is not there. Now we can, work our job, save for what we want and what our long-term, goals are for our needs.
It's almost enthusiasm now, because now
it's almost fun now. We're not perfect, right? There are areas that we don't know. There are areas we're still learning, but it's almost like a fun game now. Whereas before it almost felt like living death. Like, what am I going to do? Because at the end of the day, right, the IRS every year is still going to ask you for X amount of your income for taxes. Yep. You're still going to have to pay the bill for your car in order to drive your car around, and that goes to the DMV for the state, or whatever.
It's really neat. So like, she's helped me like with all like the budgeting and stuff, and we use the every dollar. We had car repairs come up, and I remember, 3 years ago, some of the debt that I had to get rid of was, I didn't have a car fund of any kind that was for maintenance.
Right.
And, I had a fuel system, something in my fuel system went out of my car, it cost me $1,000. That involved me taking out one of those high interest credit cards from the auto shop that fixed the car, right? 20-something% interest on, yeah.
And this was pre-interest, right? This isn't the interest from this last year. It was 3 or 4 years ago.
And so the other day, we had, some car maintenance come up, and I think we both had flat tires in the same week.
Yeah.
Welcome to the city.
And we ended up getting new sets of tires for both cars, and that money was in the car maintenance fund that we had done. And so it didn't even touch an emergency fund. It didn't touch anything else. And it was just, So now understanding, like, I'm finding the math. I enjoy the math and the numbers and averages of making sure that the budget's perfect. I like I like seeing some of that and seeing the math work and realizing that, yes, our budget is, we can account for the unknowns, but we also are maximizing all the knowns. I don't know. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Off Limits.
Beyond the podcast, we are money coaches who want to help you.
So if you are looking for help managing your money, use the links in the description below to contact either of us and learn how coaching can help you thrive.
Lastly, please help us to spread the word by subscribing, leaving a comment, and sharing our podcast with your friends and family.